With my Creative OS, I can remember every script idea I've ever had, generate daily content, research today's top news, manage all of my projects, and take care of all of my clients. And now I'm going to show you how to build one yourself. This isn't another productivity system or second brain. It's an AI creative operating system. Now here's the truth. Creative people don't run out of ideas, we lose them. Every month you generate hundreds of valuable things. Script ideas, client notes, revisions, references, prompts, voice memos, half-finished concepts, and most of it just evaporates. And it's even worse in the AI era. Every time you open up a new chat in ChatGPT or Gemini, you start from zero, re-explaining who you are, your style, your clients, and your projects. You're basically renting a genius with amnesia. A regular note app can't fix that because it just stores the info. It can't do anything with it. You need something that remembers everything and acts on it. That's an agentic OS, a system that holds your whole creative world and can actually work inside it. I'm putting the whole framework and my folder template in the description below as a GitHub link. Grab it. And if you make things for a living as a creative professional, subscribe. This channel is for you. So first off, what is it? A creative OS or operating system is a system built around your knowledge, not around an AI company. Your files, ideas, client history, prompts, your branding, projects, everything lives in one place you own. The AI model is just the brain you plug in to read, reason, and act on them. Better model next year? Unplug your current one and plug in another. Own your knowledge and rent your intelligence. One creative OS, any AI model. Now, under the hood is 5 simple layers. This is the whole thing on one screen, then we build it. First layer is capture. This is where everything comes in. Voice notes, meetings, PDFs, books, YouTube links, browser clips, photos, screenshots, emails, prompt ideas, inspiration, and more. Layer 1 is all about gathering inspiration, information, and ideas. Layer 2 is knowledge. This is where the information lives and stays yours. You'll be using Obsidian, plain markdown files, local folders on your computer, and Git. Plain text on your machine. No company owns it. This is your persistent memory and what other people call the second brain. This is where you store your knowledge and information. Layer 3 is intelligence. The swappable brain. Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Codex, Kimi, GLM, all the local models out there. The replaceable part that you can change as AI models compete and get better. This is the driver of your OS, where you can start taking action on your knowledge, like a personal assistant that has access to all of your files and memory. Layer 4 is creation. This is what comes out of your OS and you can generate with all this information. Scripts, captions, images, videos, treatments, storyboards, marketing campaigns, proposals, contracts, and deliverables. It turns your stored knowledge into finished work and in your voice because it reads your files and remembers who you are. Layer 5 is feedback. This is where your system learns from you and improves itself. You give your OS revisions, analytics, lessons, new ideas, which then loop back into your knowledge base. Every project makes the system smarter as it learns from your notes, stores the changes and modifications in your second brain, and continues to improve upon itself. It compounds with every conversation, getting smarter and personalized over time. So that's it. Capture, knowledge, intelligence, creation, and then back around to feedback. That's the Creative OS in a nutshell. Now let's build it. We're building it in 2 halves. First, a second brain, the place everything you know lives. Then an operating system on top of it, the part that actually does the work. By the end of this video, the system is running your 5 jobs on its own. And then in the next one, all of it collapses onto one screen, rebuilt for you every morning before you sit down. Now we start with the part that outlives every model. We're going to use Obsidian. So first go to Obsidian.md and you're going to download it. It's free. And here's all Obsidian actually is. A nice looking window onto a folder of text files on your computer. That's it. Everything you write in it is a markdown file. Sounds technical, but it isn't. Markdown is a plain text file where a hashtag makes a heading and 2 asterisks make something bold. That's the whole language. Here's a .md file of the script for this video. And why it matters is a markdown file can be opened by any app on any computer by any AI. You're not locked into anyone. That's the entire point. Now, before you make anything, you want to decide where your operating system lives on your computer, not buried in downloads. Somewhere you'll find it in a year. Mine sits in my documents folder, one level down. So make a folder now for this demo and name it whatever you want. For this example, I'm just going to go to the desktop. I'm going to create a folder, Creative OS, right there. And now we make the folders. And that's all these are, regular folders exactly like the ones on your computer. I'm going to create some generic folders for this demo. First, we're going to do inbox. These are the raw dumps. Voice memos, screenshots, half thoughts, nothing organized, just caught and captured. The second folder is going to be called knowledge. This is the cleaned up version, your style, your brand, your voice, and your prompts. Then we'll create one called projects, one folder per job. And you would make folders within this project folder for internal projects that you're working on. The next one, clients. And you would make one folder per client just to keep it organized. The next would be content. This is where all the generations would go that you create with Claude. Then you can create an inspiration folder. This is where you can put in things that inspire you and can also train Claude. From screen captures to brand decks to Instagram images, whatever it is, use this folder for things that inspire you that also train Claude on what you like. And then lastly, we're going to create dashboard. That empty folder is the entire next video, where we will create a whole dashboard and command center so you can visually see your operating system. One question people ask is why folders? Why not tags or one big pile and let the AI figure it out? That's because you need to know where things go. If you don't know where a note belongs, you won't file it. And a system you don't feed is dead in a month. 6 obvious folders beats a clever system you abandon. And if you want to, you can rename these in your own style and in your own way. But you want to have folders because if you let AI do this for you, you'll get confused trying to figure out its filing system. Now open Obsidian, and it asks you one question, open folder as vault, right here. That word vault sounds fancy, but it isn't. A vault is just a folder you pointed at. So click open folder as vault, and then choose the folder we just created. And there you go. And that's the whole trick nobody explains. Obsidian didn't make anything happen. It just opened a window onto the folder you already built. The folder on your desktop and the folder in Obsidian are the same thing in 2 windows. Change it in one and it changes it in the other because there's only ever one folder, no copies. Now is the power move, and I'm going to explain it like you've never heard the word because you probably haven't, and every tutorial assumes you have. Git is a time machine for a folder. Every time you tell it to save a snapshot, it remembers exactly where every file looked like at that moment forever. Delete something by accident in March, you can get it back in December. Think of it like version history on a Premiere project or saving your place in a video game. And you're not going to type a single command to use it. I'll show you why in a minute. GitHub is where those snapshots go to live online. And here's the part I really want to land. Right now, everything we've built lives on our laptop. Laptop gets stolen, drinks get spilled and breaks your laptop, hard drives can die, things get old and break. Now GitHub gives you a complete second copy of your brain and your files in the cloud, updated every time you save. This isn't a coder thing, it's the insurance policy on everything you're building today. So let's make one. We're going to be on github.com. You're going to make a free account. You can sign up right here. Then you can do your sign up process. I'm just going to sign in to my account. And then once you're at home, you can click on here for a new repository. Repo is basically a new project. Create new, create a name. I'm going to name this Creative OS. Leave a description. I'm going to make this private for now, but I'll make it public for you later. For you, keep it private. That way, everything is secure. And private means, of course, that you can only see it. And public means the entire internet can see your files. I just skip all the other boxes underneath. We don't need them, and you'll see later why, because we just have Claude do it. Click Create Repository. Now that's your safety deposit box. It's empty, and we're not going to fill it by hand. Now it's time to plug in the brain or the AI model. For today's demo, I'm going to plug in Claude Code because I learned in Claude Code and I really like Anthropic and I feel like it's the best. Although we're building this so that you can actually swap in any AI model out there that wins the race. So to install Claude Code, you can go to the Claude Code website, download for Mac, or you go to terminal, which I've done before. And all you do is just copy this command. You go to your terminal and you paste and press enter and then follow the instructions. Now you can run your second brain with the terminal. But for me, I like things visual and seeing my files all in one place. So I use an app called Visual Studio Code. It's free and it's from Microsoft and you install it like any app. Now all you would do is download it for Mac or for PC. Once it's open, click on the extensions icon in the left sidebar. You're now going to search for Claude Code. Make sure that you're installing the Claude Code from Anthropic and no one else. Mine's already installed, so just install it. Then once it's installed, you open up the folder that you just created for your Creative OS. So File, Open Folder, I'll go to Desktop, and I'll open it. And now on the left, you see how all the folders we created are showing up. And that way you can see your filing system. And that's it. That's the brain meaning the knowledge. It can now read every file you have. Before we make anything else, I want to change how you think about this. You could click File, New File, name it, and type it out. That's the old way and it's fine. But you now have an assistant sitting right there that knows code. So instead, I type, create a file called Claude.md at the top of this folder. And there it is. I haven't made a file by hand since I set this up. You've stopped being the person who makes the files. You're the person who decides what should exist. And that's a bigger shift than it sounds. Because if you're not a coder, sometimes you're confused on what needs to be written, and Claude would do it for you. So what is a Claude.md file, and why did we make it? And it's the single most important file in the system. It's a plain text file, same markdown as everything else. Nothing special about the format. What's special is when it gets read. It's a file the AI reads first, every single time before it does anything else. Think of it as the note you'd leave a brilliant new assistant on their first morning. They're smart, they know nothing about you, and this is the page that fixes that. Here's the trick nobody tells you. You don't have to write it yourself. And if you did, you'll be staring at an empty file and freeze, like I did before. Instead, just type this. Or if you have a mic, you go down to this icon right here, the microphone, and you can say what you want, which I prefer because it's faster. Interview me and write my Claude.md for me and optimize it for this system. And now it's going to write it for me. From this point, it's going to ask me a series of questions so that we can build the correct Claude.md structure so that Claude knows what to do every single time it opens in this folder. Then when you're done, it's going to write the whole file for you, properly formatted. The thing that you were supposed to write but didn't know how to just wrote itself from just a few questions. Whatever it writes, make sure 4 things are in there. 1, who you are. I'm a video producer, I own and run a creative agency, and I'm not technical, so talk to me in plain English. 2, where things live. Every new project that I create that's different from the Creative OS gets its own folder within project. Stuff like that. 3, how you want it to behave. Be direct, don't guess, ask before sending anything. 4, the hard rules. Mine says, never delete a file, never send an email without asking me, and don't reorganize my computer. And the mistake that everyone makes is a long Claude.md. You have to keep it short. This gets read every single session. A bloated Claude or map file makes the AI dumber, not smarter. Same trick for the safety file. I type or say, Create a gitignore file that keeps passwords, API keys, and video files out of my backups. What it just made is a list of things Git will pretend doesn't exist. Things that never get copied to the cloud and on my GitHub. Anything with a password in it, anything huge, or anything private. Do this before anything gets uploaded and not after. Once a password is in your history, it is a genuine chore to get it out. And notice, I didn't know how to format the gitignore. I just described what I wanted protected and it created the file. Now watch, because this is where the technical part stops being technical. Remember that empty GitHub repo? We're connecting it again by asking. So I'm going to type or say, connect this folder to my GitHub repository, make the first save, and upload it. Then I'm going to go to my GitHub. I'm going to share the URL, go back to VS Code, paste it, and then have it connect. Just watch. Setting up the time machine, writing the first snapshot, connecting, and uploading. Once it's connected, you can go back to the repo, refresh the page, and there's your entire second brain backed up, online, and private. You never learned a single command, you described what you wanted, and it did it. From now on, whenever you've done real work, you say one thing, save my work to GitHub, or commit. And what happens? You get a new snapshot, upload it, and done. I do it at the end of every working day. 4 seconds, and I have never lost anything. It all lives in the cloud, just like the save history in Adobe Premiere or in a video game. Now the part that fixes the amnesia we talked about at the top. You have to give it a memory. Just 2 files, and you know how to make them. So I type or say, make a memory folder with 2 files, SOUL.md and USER.md. Then interview me to fill them in to optimize my system. So a SOUL.md file is who the AI is when it works with you. Its role, how blunt to be, what it must never do, and what it has to do every single day. Mine opens up with, I'm Mitchel's business partner, personal assistant, and creative collaborator, honest and direct. The user.md file is who you are, your business, your clients, your goals, your schedule, what you're working towards. And because it interviews you, you're not writing either one. You're just answering questions about yourself, and Claude does it for you. So there's one thing that trips everybody up. Claude.md is the map that says where things are. Memory says who we both are. Different jobs, both short, both read at the start of every conversation. If you're ever unsure where something belongs, facts about your setup go in the map, or the Claude.md. Facts about you go in the memory. And here's the piece that actually changes things. After those 2, it writes its own memory. Decisions you made, corrections you gave it once, details about clients, and your project history. You say something one time and it files it. That's the whole difference between a chatbot and an operating system. It knows you with these files we just created. Now, one more piece before the fun starts, connections. Right now, your operating system can read the files on your laptop and nothing else. Connections let it reach the tools you already live in. Your email, your calendar, your Google Drive, your CRM, your invoicing platform. You will see the word MCP thrown around for this. Ignore the acronym. It just means a standard plug so any tool can talk to any AI. Add only the ones you actually use. For me, I think you should start with connecting Google Workspace, the Gmail, Calendar, and Drive. That's the biggest one, and it unblocks the next thing we build. For my system, I've connected to a lot. My CRM, Gmail, Calendar, Drive, my books and invoicing platform, Zoho Books, my contracts with PandaDoc, my forms with JotForm, the Vault itself, and plenty more. These are apps and tools that I use on a daily and weekly basis that I can read and control with Claude. Now, to connect your Google Workspace with your Claude Code and all other platforms and software and websites and tools to Claude Code, you would go to the developer sections of those tools and websites. And for Google Workspace, you would go to developers.google.com, and it'll give you the steps to do it. And actually, now that you have Claude Code, you can just ask Claude, connect my Gmail, my CRM, or my accounting software to Claude. And then it'll tell you how, or give you the links, or figure it out for you. But once you have this done, Claude Code can read your Gmail, it can read your calendar, read files in your Google Drive, and so much more. so that now you have a personal assistant that has access to your Google Workspace. Now, 2 upgrades turn a pile of notes into something a machine can actually think with. The first one is I got from Andre Karpathy, which everybody online uses for their Vault setup. Karpathy is one of the founders of OpenAI. His idea: don't make the AI read your messy raw notes every single time. Instead, compile them. Your rough notes are the ingredients. The AI cooks them down into clean, short, cross-linked articles, a little wiki of everything you know. Why that matters? The model finds a clean 2-paragraph article instantly. It can get lost in 9 months of your messy daily notes. Same knowledge, 10 times more usable. His version does it with articles he reads. My OS does it with my own conversations. Every day it gets compiled into the wiki automatically. And building it is just one prompt. Watch. I just say, make me a daily folder and a wiki folder. Then build a skill. Anytime new information comes in, my inbox, research, an article I save, call notes, compile it into a short, cross-linked article in the wiki. That's it. Daily is the raw stuff, wiki is the compiled stuff, and your knowledge folder stays yours. That's what you wrote. The AI only ever writes to the wiki. Now I never ask again. New information comes in, it gets compiled overnight. You go to bed, it files your day. Now there's a second upgrade, and this one is genuinely optional, so I'll tell you what it does and you decide. Right now, the AI can read your files, but it doesn't know how they connect. A knowledge graph fixes that, and a graph is just a map of relationships. Picture every note as a dot and a line drawn between any 2 dots that relate. This client, that project, the idea it came from, the lesson you learned after. A folder tells you where a file is. A graph tells you what it's connected to. That's the whole concept. And this is what I loved about the second brain and creative OS structure in general, was that you're able to call upon past client notes, call notes, projects, invoices, contracts, whatever it is, in your computer, your Google Drive, or where you keep your files. And then this brain will create connections that will be very helpful when you want to recall certain subjects. Here's why I built one. I have 28,000 dots all wired together. Without it, when I ask a question, the AI guesses which files are relevant and goes reading. With it, it walks the lines. It already knows this client connects to that project, connects to the lesson I wrote down 8 months ago. So I stopped searching for files and started asking questions. What connects this campaign to what I learned from last year? Faster, cheaper, and it finds things I'd forgotten I knew. If you're just starting out, skip it. Use what you've built for a month. Come back when your vault feels too big to remember. And when you do want it, the tool I use is in the free repo as a skill called Graphify, which I'll put in the description of this video. Just ask Claude to open up the GitHub and install the skill, ask it to map out your vault, and it does the whole thing. Build the brain first, wire it up later. Now stop for a second and look what you have. A place everything lives, a brain that reads it, a memory, your real tools wired in, a wiki, and a graph. That's a second brain. And honestly, that's where every other tutorial ends. But a brain that only answers questions is still just a very smart library. Now we build the operating system on top of it, the part that does the work without being asked. And it starts with skills. A skill is a saved recipe or SOP for something that you do constantly. And it's not magic. A skill is literally a folder with one instruction file inside it. That's the entire technology. Say you write captions the same way every single time. You do it once with the AI, tune it until it's right, then say, save that as a skill. Now it's a command you can ask forever. And you don't have to write it from scratch. Anthropic ships a skill creator that interviews you and writes the skill for you, so it keeps it nice and easy. 1. The idea vault. Because the idea you lose is always the good one. Here's a trick. Your phone and your laptop both can talk to Google Drive. So make a Drive folder. I called mine Second Brain Inbox. Connect Drive to Claude on your desktop app, which then connects to your phone. Now when an idea hits me in the car, I open up Claude on my phone and say add to inbox. It writes a data note into that Drive folder. To build a skill, you tell Claude, using the skill creator skill, build me a skill called the idea vault. Every morning, check my Second Brain Inbox folder in Google Drive. File every note in my inbox folder with a tag for what it is. Tell me what you filed, then clear the Drive folder. 2. The multiplier. The one that changes your business. It doesn't write notes, it writes work. Watch, I drop in a finished video, out comes the YouTube title and description, the shorts caption, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, a Twitter thread, a Pinterest pin, and a full SEO blog post in my voice, in my brand. Because the skill was told to read my old captions, descriptions, and blogs first. Now to build this skill, just tell Claude, build me a skill called the Multiplier. Read my brand voice file in my knowledge folder first. Then take one finished video and write the YouTube title and description, the shorts caption, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter thread, a Pinterest pin, and an SEO blog post, at least 1,000 words. So if you don't make videos, you can create this skill in a way that reflects how you post your content, whether it's images, audio, designs. You can create the skill so that it creates captions and descriptions according to the type of content you make and where you post. And if you're new to social media content, you can just ask Claude to search today's best practices for social media captions and descriptions for each one of the platforms, and it'll write it for you. Then after a while, you'll make your edits in your voice and it'll learn how to write like you. 3, the idea engine. Every morning it goes and reads what actually happened in my world today, what's moving in my niche, what's performing, and the work other artists have posted so I can get inspired from. Then it does the part that matters. It cross-references all of that against my own idea vault and my goals for this quarter, and hands me a rank list of things I could actually make this week. Not 100 ideas, 5 in order, each one line on why it's worth making now. Now to build this skill, just tell Claude, using the skill creator skill, build me a skill called the idea engine. Every morning, search my idea inbox and my wiki first, then my inspiration folder, then the internet for what's moving in my niche. Skip anything I've already made or already turned down. Rank the 5 things I should make this week for a marketing video. Also, tell the skill what your goals are. If your goal is just to create one piece of art per week or per month or a song and a track per day, tell this skill that's your goal, because then it will coach you, it'll push you, it'll motivate you, and block out time in your calendar to get your work done. Then it'll create a list of ideas that you researched, and you thought of all in a list so you can figure out what you want to work on next. It's an amazing skill to keep track of all your old ideas, plus make new ideas with inspiration from the internet. 4, the producer. You can create a project management system for you and your clients' projects. Every project you have is in one of 4 places: pre-production or the idea phase, production when you're actually making the art, and post-production when you're making the final edits and polishing the work to ship. So this skill keeps one board: what stage every project is in, what's blocking it, and what's due this week. But here's the part that actually changed my life. Your work goes in on the same board as the client work. The short film, the album, the portfolio you keep saying you'll finish, because it's not on the board, it loses to whatever's on fire every time. And once it's on the board, the skill does the last thing. It books the deep work. It looks at my week and tells me the 2 blocks where the personal project actually gets made, and it defends them. To build this skill, you say to Claude, using the skill creator skill, build me a skill called the producer. Create a file in my projects folder per client and per my projects that has the name of the idea and the description of the project with its stage: pre-production, production, post, or delivered. So if you are a business owner who has a creative business, this is great for keeping track of all of your client projects. And if you're just a creator who wants to use this for your own personal creative work, then just use this as a way to keep you on track, on schedule, and to make sure you're creating the art that you told yourself you would make. 5, the client keeper. Deals don't die from a no, they die from silence, yours. So this skill logs and remembers every client you've ever had, not just the live ones. To build this skill, you tell Claude, use the skill creator skill to create this skill. In my clients folder, keep 1 file per client: what I made for them, when I delivered, and whether I got the testimonial and a case study. This is something that I created for myself because I have a lot of clients. I've had a lot of clients in the past, and I forget to ask them for testimonials. I think it's really essential to contact old clients and current clients to see what they're up to, see if there's any other way that you can help them, offer any new products or services, and in general, just keep in touch. And those are the 5 skills. But skills still sit there waiting for you to ask. 2 more pieces fix that. Everything we've built still waits for you to ask Claude. An operating system shouldn't. 2 things to fix that. First, a schedule. You'll hear it called a cron job. It's an alarm clock for a task. Here's an example schedule and cron job that you can run for your system. You can tell Claude, at 9 a.m., noon, and 5 p.m. every weekday, check my email and LinkedIn outreach inboxes and drop a status report in today's note, and also email me with a status update. This was very helpful for me so that anytime that I'm very deep into work or busy at a meeting, I get an email and a Telegram message telling me what I need to pay attention to in my inbox, what broke down in my outreach system, and other updates that I've created in my own skill. The second thing is a hook. A schedule fires at a time, a hook fires at a moment. An example of a hook is this. You can tell Claude, every time I open up a session, check my calendar, my email, and my projects, and give me a rundown before I type anything. This is what I call a morning debrief. Every single morning, I get a list of things I need to do, status updates on clients, deals, projects, and at the same time, it shows me my calendar, my inbox, my CRM, and everything that I need to pay attention to help me run my business and push things forward. And that's something that I feel you should be doing once you set this up. You should open up Claude and VS Code every single morning and start talking to Claude. It's a habit that's really helped me with my business and also with my life. And it's the whole difference between people who build this and people who use it. For the next week, before you open anything, before Chrome, before the Notes app, open this first and ask if it can give you a morning debrief and do the things you want it to do. It'll give you your time back and at the same time, help you understand how to improve your life. And there it is. That's the AI creative operating system. Capture everything, keep it as plain files you own in your computer, plug in any AI model, turn it into finished work, and loop the results back so it gets smarter. Most creators spend their time comparing models. You just built a system that survives whichever one wins. Remember that dashboard folder that we left empty? That's the next video. Everything you just built, the vault, the memory, your tools, the 5 skills, collapses onto one screen. That's the command center. We'll build it together in the next video, so stay tuned. Now, if you want to continue learning this stuff with me, I'm opening up a video content school community. Free resources, private lessons, and a whole database of AI for creatives walkthroughs. Comment VCS below, and I'll get you early access. You can also visit videcontentschool.com for online courses on video production and content strategy. And if you run your own brand or an agency or a creative team and you'd rather we just build this for you, that's what my team does at Creative Haven. Go to my description to find a link to book a call. And if this was useful to you, like the video and subscribe to my channel. And honestly, the biggest thing you can do for me is send this to someone you think would find this helpful. I'll be posting more videos on how to enhance and improve your creative workflow with AI and other tools, so stick around and learn more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.